There are various ways to sell a car. Some car makers focus on performance, others on tech, and then there are those who champion design. If I were to choose a compact hatchback based purely on design, the new Peugeot 308 would now be parked in my driveway. And what about its performance and tech? Let's find out. While you're admiring this handsome car, let me quickly tell you how the pandemic shifted my work back in time. When I started doing automotive journalism, a good few months, if not a year, passed between the launch, the media event, and the local test drive, and finally the showroom debut here in Poland. However, as social media developed and car makers had to adapt their product communication, sometimes clients drove the cars before the media. And I'm not talking just luxury cars, but increasingly often also mainstream brands. However, the pandemic affected the supply chains and many months have passed since the new 308 debut. Only now, first press cars arrived and first cars started appearing in showrooms. Peugeot launched its bold new design in the flagship 508, soon followed by the 208 Super Mini as well as its crossover derivative 2008 and the facelifted compact crossover 3008. In the 308 compact hatch, the grille is even more pronounced, and so are the lines from every angle. The new logo informs everyone looking, the new Lion King's in town. And the lion turns heads. It's not just a new car, but a beautiful one as well. Here comes the claw. This is a plug-in hybrid. More about the technical aspects when we get out on the road, but now the practical stuff. With the hybrid, you get 361 liters boot capacity, almost 40 less than in the previous gen with the conventional powertrain. However, if you go for the regular petrol or diesel engine, then you get 412 liters, which is almost 15 more than on the previous model. Shopping bag hooks are still a German novelty which Peugeot designers must find revolting. Another German antique is a flat floor. The French like their hunches like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. At least there is a ski hatch. The new Peugeot 308 has 5.5 centimeters longer wheelbase than the model it replaces, and this means more legroom in the back. At first glance it may look cramped, but it's really more spacious than the older model where the legroom was available only on the estate version. Carried over from the previous generation is the large tunnel running through the middle. Also, there could be a bit more room for your feet under the seats. There's an armrest with cup holders and a place for your phone. There are also 2 USB ports, air vents and large door pockets. Before we get in the front, I'd like to show you what should be a brilliant idea, and that's the proximity hands-free system. As I approach the car, it opens, and as I leave, it locks itself. Nothing new. Renault has this for years, and most of the time I complained about it. When I leave my house and pass next to the car, like so, to open the gate, the car unlocks. Here's the gate. And it locks itself again. As I go back to the house to pick something up, the car unlocks and locks itself again with a beep. My neighbors love it. And in many other cars you can configure it. So you can either have it on as you approach or on only as you depart, or you can turn it off altogether. In a Peugeot, you cannot turn it off. I checked the manual, I asked Peugeot, and you cannot turn it off. Maybe it's going to get fixed with another software update or something, but for now, this is it. And ADML, or Access Démarrage Main Libre, hands-free access, proximity, whatever you want to call it, is standard from mid-trim upwards. So be careful when you select your car. The new Peugeot 308 now features new generation of the cockpit interface like in the 208. Also here the instrument panel can be 3D. It doesn't do anything in terms of everyday usability, but where's your 3D instrument cluster in your Golf, eh? It's more interesting in the middle, where you get a double display with a new infotainment system. The main screen is where all the data and settings are presented, but the lower panel is configurable and it gives you shortcuts to the most important stuff. This is sort of future-proofing of the interface, because when new functions appear, Peugeot will not have to redesign physical buttons below the screens. And it's good there are some physical buttons left. It's a shame though there are none for the temperature or heated seats. In order to turn the heated seats or the heated steering wheel on, you have to click 3 times. And now, behold, Peugeot has finally graduated to a 360 camera class. For the first time in a Peugeot, we have a full-on 360 camera with high resolution and multi-angle view. Perhaps it would be nice if the camera view disappeared by itself when I put the car in park, but that's a minor issue. As far as the infotainment system is concerned, this build is not particularly stable. I had to repair my phone at least once during the week, and when Android Auto crashes, for some reason you'll have to restart the car to get any phone connection restored. I did see Android Auto sat-nav directions on the instrument cluster once, but then they disappeared and I have no idea how to get them back. It's a busy screen. There are 2 smartphone cubbies, one featuring wireless charging, there are generous cup holders, the armrest storage could be bigger, but the glove box and the door pockets make up for that. I also like the gear selector. It doesn't protrude like that VW ball shaver. You won't touch it by accident, and once you do touch it, your finger won't slip. I rarely complain about the seat length. Usually it's only Hyundai and Kia that have short seats. However, in the Peugeot, I also experienced that. Fortunately here, the seat actually extends. Otherwise, the seats are generally comfortable, but I wouldn't mind a bit more knee room around the center console. I know it all depends on your body proportions and sitting position, but remember to check it out during the test drive. On the plus side, the Peugeot 308 is very quiet, and it's not just because it's a plug-in hybrid using an electric motor most of the time, a lot of time, but even with the engine it's pretty quiet. You get some noise from the winter tires, but otherwise the soundproofing seems to be very good. Speaking of the PHEV powertrain, this is the more powerful variant, 225 horsepower. There is also a 180 horsepower PHEV. Torque is the same at 360 Newton meters. The engine here is a 1.6 4-pot. Besides hybrids, there is also the 1.2-liter PureTech 3-banger with 110 or 130 horsepower. The latter is available as a manual as well as an automatic. The 130 horsepower 1.5-liter diesel comes with a manual or an automatic. The PHEV has 12.4 kWh batteries, good for claimed almost 60 kilometers of electric range. During the winter at around 0 degrees Celsius, I didn't get even 40. This means instead of the claimed 1.2 liters per 100 kilometers, I'm averaging 5 to 6 liters, and that's assuming I don't drive more than 50-60 kilometers during a day. Charging, depending on the connection and the onboard charger, takes anywhere between 7 and 2 hours. As standard, you get a 3.7 kilowatt onboard charger, but if you really want to take advantage of the plug-in hybrid system and charge it every time you get a chance, you want to pay €450 extra for the 7.4 kilowatt charger. On longer motorway trips, you'll be using around 7 liters per 100 kilometers if you go easy on the throttle. But this is the GT Pack and the most powerful hybrid, so you may want to give it the beans once in a while. The claimed 0 to 100 km per hour time is 7.5 seconds, but in sport mode I got even better. This is not the 308 GTI or any other contemporary hot hatch territory, but it's still fast enough to lose your license if you're not careful. Also, I'm surprised at how good the traction is on this front-wheel drive car. The Tiguan e-Hybrid really struggled off the line, and that was on dry tarmac. Grip is also good around the corners. However, if you want to drive this car fast, you really need to go into sport mode. In the standard hybrid mode, as soon as you get off the gas, the engine shuts off, and then when you get on the gas again, it will take ages for the gearbox to figure out what to do next. But the brakes are good. The feel is much better than I expected, especially this being a hybrid where regenerative braking can often spoil the brake response. But sport mode or not, this just feels like a big game console. Nothing wrong with that. It's a toy. Most of the time you'll be rolling in traffic with adaptive cruise control and active lane assist on. Kudos for fitting all the buttons on the steering wheel rather than hiding the assisted driving button behind the steering wheel like on the DS9. So well done, Peugeot. Price of the Peugeot 308 started at €25,000 for the Active Pack 1.2-litre 110 horsepower manual hatchback, add $1,000 for the estate. The cheapest diesel hatchback cost $30,000 and the cheapest PHEV will set you back $37,000 large. An average spec petrol model costs around €34,000 depending on the options and the body style. This GT Pack 225 horsepower hybrid hatchback with options costs €48,600. The Peugeot 308 looks modern. Tech and performance are acceptable. For me, the proximity hands-free system, which I cannot disable, is a deal breaker, but maybe this is going to get fixed soon enough. And how do you like the new Peugeot 308? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.